Hello everybody, I'm Michael Vincent. Today I will tell you the story of a famous bank robber who America calls enemy number one. That's John Dillinger. So, what kind of person is John Dillinger? In the hearts of the American people, he is considered a Robin Hood during the Great Depression, robbing the rich to give to the poor. But to American bankers, he is a hated robber. He organized and successfully carried out at least 24 bank robberies, and even robbed 4 police stations. Not only that, he also successfully escaped from prison twice. America's famous FBI was established thanks to his capture. So, what happened to Dillinger in the end? Why is this bank robber so famous? Let's go back to 1903 to learn more about the life of this bank robber. Indiana is a state in the north-central region, slightly east of the United States. As can be seen from the name, this land once belonged to the Indians. On December 11, 1816, Indiana officially became the 19th state to join the United States, with Indianapolis as its capital. On June 22, 1903, John Herbert Dillinger was born into an ordinary family in Indianapolis. His father, John Wilson Dillinger, owned a grocery store. According to reports, John's father had a strange temperament and often used a whip to discipline his children in a hit once and then give a piece of candy style. His mother, Mary Ellen Lancaster, died when he was 4 years old. After his mother's death, he lived with his married sister, Audrey, then 18 years old, until his father remarried in 1912. After his father remarried, Dillinger had 3 more siblings. At first, he hated his stepmother very much, but later became very fond of her. Since childhood, Dillinger has had a quirky, mischievous, and disruptive personality. When he reached school age, he studied at least 7 years in public school. During this time, he often got into fights, stole petty things, and was warned many times, and even bullied younger students, causing headaches for teachers. By age 16, he dropped out of school and worked at a store in Indianapolis. Although he worked hard during the day, every night, he rushed into nightclubs filled with colored lights. His unruly life and wild personality made his father worry that the city environment would sooner or later destroy his son. So, he decided to move his family to rural Mooresville. However, his father's concern did not change Dillinger. He quickly adapted to rural life and continued to maintain an ambitious and rebellious lifestyle, not sparing petty thefts. In 1922, he was arrested for car theft. His father completely lost faith in his son, causing tension in the father-son relationship. Afterwards, Dillinger joined the U.S. Navy, but with his indomitable personality, he could not stand the military's strict management. Just a few months later, when the warship was in Boston, he fled, going to nightclubs to continue enjoying himself. Finally, the military investigated and listed him as a deserter and was dismissed from the Navy. His military career failed, and he became known as a deserter, so he had to return to his hometown of Mooresville. Although his career did not go smoothly, his love blossomed again. He met 16-year-old Beryl Ethel Hovius, and the two quickly fell in love. On April 12, 1924, they were married in Martinsville. However, the economic crisis made it difficult for him to find a stable job. With an unyielding personality, his wife gradually became disappointed. The marriage only lasted 5 years before they broke up. After the divorce, Dillinger lived more and more freely, hanging out with bad friends, wandering around without work all day, and at night, going to clubs. But to have fun, money is needed, and he and his friends have no source of income. So, he and his friend Ed Singleton came up with a bad idea. After some consideration, they decided to rob a local grocery store. The plan was successful, but the amount of money stolen was not much, only $120. The two happily ran away, intending to find a place to hide, but unexpectedly everything was witnessed by a passing pastor. For pastors, crime is intolerable. He immediately called the police, and Dillinger and Singleton were arrested. During his imprisonment, Dillinger stubbornly refused to plead guilty. Seeing that the case was difficult to progress, the judge thought of a way to entice him to plead guilty with the promise of leniency. His father also advised him to plead guilty because robbing $120 was not a big crime. At most, he would only be imprisoned for a few months. But no one expected that. After pleading guilty, the judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison, the maximum sentence for this crime. This sentence made Dillinger completely lose faith in justice and is said to have changed his life forever. On the way to be escorted to prison, Dillinger still tried to find a way to escape, but failed. He is being held at Indiana State Prison in Michigan City. Here, he began to make friends with other criminals. When entering prison, he once said a challenging sentence: "When I get out of here, I will become the most notorious thug you have ever seen." At this time, Dillinger was determined to become an outlaw. Due to frequently hanging out in nightclubs before, during a health check in prison, he discovered he had gonorrhea. The painful treatment process made him even more resentful of society. His long period of imprisonment helped him become acquainted with many experienced bank robbers, such as Harry Pierpont and Russell Clark. They gave him their criminal experience, and the three promised to do big things together after they were released from prison. However, getting released early is not easy. Dillinger didn't want to spend the full 10 years in prison, so he began to change tactics. He appeared obedient, worked hard, and pretended to be a model prisoner to please the prison guards. This trick is effective. At the same time, his father outside was also actively running around, thinking that a 10-year prison sentence for robbing $120 was too unfair. Finally, a petition with the signatures of 188 people was sent, demanding Dillinger's early release. On May 2, 1933, the prison agreed to release him from prison ahead of schedule after 8.5 years of imprisonment. But when he was free, he had no intention of living in peace. Instead, he planned to help his fellow prisoners escape. To do this, he needed money to buy weapons, and in a context where America was sinking into the Great Depression, factories closed, banks went bankrupt, millions of people were unemployed. For a man with a criminal record like him, the fastest way to make money was still robbery. On June 21, 1933, he targeted the New Carlisle National Bank in Ohio, robbing it of more than $10,000 in cash. Feeling sweet, he continued to attack two other banks, collecting a total of nearly $30,000, a large sum of money at that time. When he had enough money, he started buying guns to help his fellow prisoners escape. But, as people often say, if you stay by the river, how can you avoid getting your shoes wet? On September 22, 1933, while robbing a bank in Bluffton, Ohio, he had trouble. Soon Dayton police tracked him down and arrested him in Lima County, Ohio. He was detained in Lima prison. When searching, they found a piece of paper that seemed to be a prison escape plan, but he gritted his teeth and refused to confess. The police had to give up. Meanwhile, Dillinger asked friends outside to bring a batch of guns into prison. His friend in prison, Pierpont, received guns and his accomplices used them to violently escape from prison. After escaping, they planned to join forces with Dillinger to do big business, but learned that he had been arrested. Undeterred, the group that had just escaped from prison immediately made a plan to rescue him. On October 12, 1933, three accomplices, pretending to be Indiana State Police, went to Lima prison to demand Dillinger's extradition. When asked to see the documents, they did not hesitate to pull out their guns, shoot and kill two prison guards, and took the key to release Dillinger. The group quickly fled back to Indiana, joining forces with others. From here, the Dillinger Gang was officially born, with members including Dillinger, Pierpont, Clark, Charles Mackley, Ed Schaus, Harry Copeland, Walter Dietrich, and John Hamilton. After forming a gang, they aimed for bigger missions. To facilitate the action, the group attacked two weapons warehouses in Auburn and Peru, Indiana, stealing many machine guns, rifles, pistols, ammunition, and bulletproof vests. With weapons in hand, the Dillinger Gang was like a tiger with wings, carrying out a series of bank robberies in Indiana. One of the most successful times was when Dillinger pretended to be a bank alarm system salesman, infiltrated many banks in Indiana and Ohio to learn about security weaknesses, and then organized a robbery. Another time, they impersonated a film crew, saying they were filming a bank robbery scene, then blatantly carried out the real robbery right in front of everyone's eyes. The surrounding crowd thought it was an act, even applauding the real acting. After scrounging up the money, they leisurely left, leaving behind a bewildered crowd. However, not all cases go smoothly. On January 15, 1934, while robbing the First National Bank in East Chicago, Indiana, the police arrived. Dillinger took bank manager Walter Spencer and his staff hostage and ran to the waiting car. A gun battle broke out. Police officer William O'Malley was shot and killed on the spot. This was the first person Dillinger killed. During this time, the Dillinger gang was almost undefeated, robbing at least $300,000, a shocking figure in the midst of the Great Depression, becoming a topic of discussion everywhere. Their actions also sparked a wave of bank robberies in the American Midwest. In the context of millions of people losing their jobs, hunger spreading, some people burning forests to be hired as firefighters, while capitalists dump milk into the Mississippi River or burn wheat to destroy surplus products, poor people are even more angry. Therefore, the fact that the Dillinger gang continuously robbed banks, bypassing the police, partly made the people gloat, even a little gloating at the incompetence of the authorities. But this path cannot last forever, and the next developments in Dillinger's life contain many other surprises. On January 21st, 1934, to avoid intense pursuit, the Dillinger gang decided to temporarily stay away and find a way to escape the Midwest. However, they were stopped by police in Arizona. After many tiring days of running, the group chose the Congress Hotel in Tucson to rest. Unfortunately, shortly after arrival, a fire broke out at the hotel. All guests, including the Dillinger gang, were forced to hastily evacuate via fire ladder truck without having time to take their luggage with them. Even though they escaped, a large amount of money was still left in the room. Charles Makeley, a member of the group, gave $12 to the firefighters to retrieve their luggage. This accidentally revealed the faces of several Dillinger gang members. A firefighter recognized them as notorious bank robbers and immediately called the police. This time, the police acted quickly and unexpectedly, arresting 5 members of the gang, including Dillinger. When searched, they discovered the group was carrying more than $25,000 in cash, 3 automatic guns, and 6 machine guns. After being arrested, Dillinger was extradited to Indiana and detained at Crown Point Prison, a place advertised as inescapable. Due to his history of escapes, the prison increased security with extra guards and a machine gun team closely monitoring. Some police suggested transferring him to a safer state prison, but local officials confidently declared that Dillinger could not escape here, with 8 layers of iron locks separating him from freedom. But before the ink dried on those words, he was slapped in the face. On March 3, 1934, Dillinger stunned the whole country again when he again successfully escaped from prison, using only a simple tool, a piece of wood. He carved wood into the shape of a gun, smeared it black with shoe polish to disguise it, and then used this fake gun to control a prison guard. From the prison guard, he stole a real machine gun, forced the other guards to open the main door, and locked them upside down in the cell. On the way, he also released a few other prisoners. Before leaving, Dillinger did not forget to mock the locked prison guards. "Look how I locked you monkeys with just this small piece of wood. Goodbye, I have to move on." Instead of going out through the main gate, where many machine guns were waiting, he ran to the parking garage, took the staff there hostage, then drove the new Ford of local police chief Hawley, and blatantly left the prison before the surprised eyes of the guards. This prison escape was not only a slap in the face to local authorities, but also humiliated America. Even President Roosevelt, who was implementing the New Deal at the time, saw this as an open challenge to the judicial system, because Dillinger used a stolen car to cross state lines, a federal crime. The Bureau of Investigation, later the FBI, officially became involved. They vowed to be determined to arrest him nationwide. After escaping Crown Point, Dillinger returned to the jungle like a tiger, making it even more difficult to track him down. Coming out of prison, he had no intention of stopping. He reunited with his accomplices and continued his daring robberies. One of the notable times was when he and his gang attacked a bank in South Bend, Indiana. They used machine guns and bulletproof vests stolen from the previous armory, turning the robbery into a real battle with the police. Dillinger is famous for his quick, bold, sometimes even dramatic action style, like in the movies. People began to deify him, seeing him as a symbol of resistance to the greedy banking system of the Great Depression. But to the authorities, he is a great threat that must be destroyed. On July 22, 1934, after months of searching, the FBI received information from Anna Sage, a Romanian immigrant woman, a brothel owner in Chicago who had been in contact with Dillinger. To avoid deportation, she agreed to cooperate with the FBI, revealing that Dillinger was going to the Biograph Theater in Chicago with her and his girlfriend, Polly Hamilton, to watch a movie. The FBI arranged secret police around the theater. When Dillinger emerged from the screening, agents recognized him by his white straw hat and distinctive demeanor. Agent Melvin Purvis signaled by lighting a cigar. When Dillinger discovered danger and tried to pull out his gun, the agents immediately opened fire. He was shot many times and collapsed on the street, ending his life at the age of 31. Dillinger's death shocked America. Hundreds of people flocked to the scene, some even dipped their handkerchiefs in his blood as souvenirs. To the people, he was a Robin Hood-like hero. To the authorities, he is the most dangerous criminal. The FBI used his arrest to consolidate its reputation and power. Dillinger's life, from a mischievous boy in Indianapolis to America's public enemy number one, is a dramatic tale of ambition, rebellion, and the price of outlaw freedom. Even though nearly a century has passed, his name is still legendary in American criminal history. If you want to know more interesting details or discover mysterious historical figures, don't forget to follow my channel. I am Michael Vincent. I look forward to receiving your support. With just a like or comment, you give me more motivation to bring more engaging content. See you again in the next sessions.